When my twin brother and I were 17 years old, we went over to my friend's house and we went inside to the kitchen table where his dad was always sitting reading Hot Rod magazine, and he handed us the latest issue with this picture of the 2003 Terminator Cobra on it. And he said, "Hey boys, have you seen the new Cobra?" This is the first picture I ever saw of an '03 Cobra, and I thought it was the coolest thing ever. I was totally in love with the Bullitt Mustang, and I probably didn't realize all the differences between the '03 Cobra and the Bullitt Mustang, but I looked at this and thought, wow, that's a really cool picture. Look at it lighting the tires up like that. And so I found these pictures on Hot Rod magazine, and I also found them on Car and Driver's website as they talk about the review of the 2003 Cobra. So it was really cool to look at these pictures again and see these. And some of you may have the articles and the magazines that these pictures were featured in. And I'm not sure if the older magazines had the same sharing of these pictures like they do now on the websites, but I was reading through the Car and Driver review, and they were talking about how they had the pre-production car at Firebird International Raceway outside Phoenix, Arizona. And I don't have that exact article, but as I was reading through the one on the internet, it talked about how they were there in Arizona with the pre-production cars. Now, I believe this Sonic Blue Terminator is one of the pre-production cars, and it could have been the one that John Coletti and Tom Scarpello used as the debut at the Chicago Auto Show. And it is here in what looks like Arizona for these pictures. But in the review in Car and Driver, as I was reading through, it talked about how the car had racing seats and a roll cage. And that's why this picture is really interesting. As I was reading that article, I thought, that sounds like the pre-production red Terminator that was the Canadian model that was sent to the Arizona Proving Grounds and tested out there for durability. And then I found this picture, and this was actually a part of my video about the pre-production Terminator Cobras, and it talks about how this torch red, or as they called it back then, Colorado red, which is the same paint code D3. This car was the Canadian model that they sent out there to be tested, and if you look closely in this picture, you can see it has different seats inside. So that must have been what this car is, and if you had seen my videos about the pre-production Terminators, you know that this is the first one produced, and it was in fact the torch red Canadian model car that went to the Arizona Proving Grounds. So that was just something really cool that I wanted to share. I was reading the different articles, but I did notice that they were changing the pictures around for other promotional pictures. But again, this picture of the Sonic Blue Terminator doing the big burnout was probably the first picture I saw of the '03 Cobra, and I thought that was so cool to come across that picture again, as well as read the old 2002 text about the '03 Cobra from Car and Driver, and read about them saying that there was a truckload there of tires, brakes, supplies, the SVT crew, and the journalists were able to go out there while they were testing this car, and they said that this car just got off of the 8-hour durability test when they arrived. And so they were all able to go out there and enjoy that. And again, here is Hot Rod Magazine with a zinc yellow Terminator, which I believe is a pre-production car as well. Hot Rod Magazine using it, and of course the most famous YouTube video of the review of the Terminator Cobra with the zinc yellow Cobra. Here it is again being used in Car and Driver magazine. So I thought that was actually pretty cool to see that Hot Rod Magazine and Car and Driver seem to be getting the same cars to use, and this, as you look deeper into it as pre-production cars, you start to see the significance. Unfortunately, all these cars were destroyed after they were used. Now, I'm not sure if that's the case for the convertible, because I believe this review was done later, and I think they wanted to get a convertible out there to show they have that option as well, and I don't believe there were any pre-production convertible cars. But that does make me wonder if that convertible was in fact the first convertible ever made for Tom Schreiner, and that was the very first Terminator ever to go down the assembly line as a production vehicle. So I almost wonder if this being the first Terminator made and being a zinc yellow convertible, could have been available for the reviews if Tom let them use his car for that. I don't know if that's true or not. It's just something I started thinking about. Of course, the wheels are different. They're chrome on his car going down the assembly line versus the machined wheels that were in the review, but maybe they put the machined wheels on there so they wouldn't tear up his tires. That is a total assumption, but I'm wondering with how early these car reviews have to get out, maybe he let them use that for the Car and Driver review. And this is pretty cool to me as well because I've recently been listening to the Iron Fist Lead Foot book, where I have an app that lets me take pictures of all the text in my copy of Iron Fist Lead Foot. I have just the paperback edition, and I was able to go through and get all the text off of every page and then listen to it through this app I have. And so where I work, they're letting us listen to music if we'd like to, and I've listened to the book 2 or 3 times now because I can listen to the whole thing in about 8 hours or so. And I've been listening to that book over and over and listening to all the cool things about this. And so with all that I've been doing lately, it was really neat to come across this article and the pre-production cobras and the video that I had made about the pre-production cobra, which I just reviewed and watched again. I'll leave that in the link below so you can watch it if you haven't seen that one yet. I just thought it was really cool with all that information to go back and find an old article from 2002 from Car and Driver of them talking about being there for that experience of the development of the Terminator Cobra. So I just wanted to share that with everybody and just say how cool it is to see these pictures again. And it's just so fun to research all of this. The Terminator Cobra has a history that I don't think will ever be matched again. There will be outperforming cars in the future, but the history and story behind the '03 Cobra is something that I don't think will be matched again. So I just wanted to share that. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more Mustang content.